I give up. I absolutely and completely just give up. That is something that I have heard from so many people these last 2 weeks. That is something that I have felt deeply these last few weeks. And I just think, you know what? It's time to talk about this. It's time to talk about being so frustrated and getting so down about things that you just want to give up. Maybe it's one thing, maybe it's several things, maybe it's everything. And it's time for us to really have an honest conversation about what that feels like and what do you do about it. So we're going to talk about it in depth coming up next. Hi everybody, my name is Dee Burks. This is Retirement Rescue, and first of all I want to say I am not a licensed counselor. I am not giving you mental health advice. If you think you have a mental health problem or need help, professional help, go get it. I am just going to tell you how I'm feeling and what I do. Hopefully that can help you too. But do not wait to get professional help if you feel like you need it. Now, having said that, you know, I'm not quite sure what it is. Maybe it's just the beginning of the year. Maybe it's just having so many things go on. Maybe it is just thing after thing bombarding you and me that seems so negative. But all of us, I think, have experienced those times when you just get in this negative spiral. You know, maybe it starts with a friend calling you and saying, hey, guess what? I've got cancer. And then you go to the grocery store and everything is 20% more expensive than it was just 2 weeks ago. And so you decide you're not even going to buy eggs and bacon this week because you can't afford it now. Maybe you have been not being able to make ends meet for a while and you've been living on your credit cards and now you're worried you're going to run out. And then what? What are you going to do? There are so many things that can crash down in on you when you start that negative spiral. And you know, a lot of it is just bad attracting bad. When one thing bad happens in your day, sometimes the rest of the day just kind of goes downhill. That happens to us all. Happens to me. You know, and that's made worse a lot of times when you don't feel good. There have been a couple of times this month where I was not feeling good, where I was sick. It happened to me even this week where I had a horrible headache for several days. I just couldn't shake it. Everything that I thought about or did or tried to do was just negative or in the dumper. And it just was getting to me. Honestly, it was getting to me. I felt like I was just angry and, unhappy. And this can also happen to a lot of people in January. If you made some of those resolutions in January and now they're not fun anymore. You've been on that diet from hell for 30 days now and you are ready to have a donut or you're going to kill somebody. I get that feeling. I totally do. So that can be part of it too. I think it is especially critical right now because so many of us we're all supposedly recovering from the years being isolated. But I think a lot of people have come out of that isolation to realize their life will never be the same. They've lost a lot of people they loved. A lot of those social connections they had several years ago just aren't there anymore or aren't near as strong. So now they've gotten out there and kind of tried to get back into the life they used to know to realize that life doesn't exist anymore. Things have changed. You've changed. And it's just not the same. And that can be very disheartening. Now, at the same time, we're also going through extreme economic upheaval. A lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people who need to work suddenly can't find jobs, and they're very frustrated. It's really easy to take those things very personally and think, well, it's me. They keep saying there's all these jobs available, which there aren't really. We're going to talk about that in a minute. There aren't really all these jobs available, but everybody keeps saying that, so what's wrong with me? You know, it's easy to feel that way. This month I've also been querying a novel, which I have not done literally in almost 20 years, right? To agents. That is full of rejection. It is rejection after rejection, and that is absolutely normal. But it's hard for that not to get to you, for that not to shake your self-confidence a little bit. And it's really easy to get into that mindset of, oh, it's them against me. It's the world against me. Everybody hates me. Oh, my God. No, they don't. No, they don't. But having said that, how do you get yourself out of that? Well, I'm going to talk to you about what I do. And I'm not trying to say that I'm perfect because, hey, I have my moments too. I mean, even though I've worked really hard over the years to be very much less Karen-like and less reactive to things, it happens. It absolutely happens. But there are several things you can do. There's several things I do. Being an introverted person, I naturally run through all the scenarios in my head. That can be good when you're planning things because you're ready for anything. It can be bad when things are negative because you're like, oh my gosh, you catastrophize everything. It's like, well, I could go down this way, or things could just be horrible this way, or oh my gosh, and so it works for you sometimes, it works against you sometimes, right? But one of the things I try to do is look forward, make a plan for what I am going to do. There are a lot of things we don't control. But what we do control is how we react to those things. And there are a lot of things we control. For example, let's just take one example. Let's take looking for a job. There's a lot of that you can't control. Like I said, you never know if someone, number one, is really looking for someone. A lot of times they're not. I used to be in HR. We had to, by policy, post all open jobs, even if we had absolute no intention of hiring someone from the outside, even if they were internal. They had to be posted. So a lot of jobs you see aren't, quote, real jobs. Also, a lot of job postings you see are so companies can say they're, quote, hiring, while at the same time, those same companies are laying people off. Those postings aren't what I would call real postings because they're not really actively interviewing for them. You never know the situation. You absolutely don't. So a lot of what you see as a job opening really isn't. However, does that mean you shouldn't apply to jobs that you're not going to get one? No. It means that it's not about you. It's about you applying to the job openings that you see and continuing to. It doesn't mean you give up after 5 or 6 and say, they just don't want someone over 50, or they just don't want me, or there's something wrong with me. No, there's nothing wrong with you. I have given myself this same exact pep talk, querying for agents. And one of the ways that really helps me is every morning I go in and I send another query. Every time I get a rejection, I send another query. I have a steady plan. I don't sit around and worry about, number one, did they even read it? Number two, did they just not like the concept? Is it the genre? Did I pick the wrong? I don't worry. You just can't. Because you do not control those things. All you control is moving forward. And I tell you, that's one of the things I've struggled with here this past month, is I feel like sometimes I'm just banging my head against the wall. I'm doing all these things that are supposed to be moving me forward, and I feel like I'm stuck, like stuck in a rut, but it's not a rut because I'm still doing these things. It doesn't mean you always see the result of those things immediately. And especially if it's a New Year's resolution and you made this resolution and, you're going to give yourself 30 days and the 30 days are up and it doesn't seem like you've accomplished anything, you're not going to see the results instantly. You're not going to lose 50 pounds in January. Sorry, not going to happen. Although you may hurt someone if you try to lose 50 pounds in January. And that's part of it too. If you have changed your routine, if you have completely changed your diet, if you have started trying to exercise every day and get up at 4 in the morning to go do that and now you're exhausted, you are going to take everything that happens to you in a negative light because you don't feel well. You don't feel as good as you should. And so that is going to matter. The same is true if you sit around and obsess about what you don't have, where your life isn't going, how people just don't like you. Whatever the problem is, if you sit around and obsess over it, you cause yourself so much stress and your body so much stress that you don't sleep well, you have indigestion, you get sick easier. That stress has a physical manifestation, and that makes things even worse. So we make ourselves even worse. And when you're thinking about trying to get yourself beyond that point, and it's not about getting out of it, it's getting beyond that point. We all have emotions, and those emotions have ups and those emotions have downs. But guess what? Emotions are always transient. They will come and they will go. You will have high highs, you will have low lows. None of them last forever. It's just like you have seasons to your life. You have seasons to your year emotionally. There will be times you're just having a great time and things are going wonderfully, and then all of a sudden, too much later, it's like, oh, everything's in the dumper and oh, it's going awful. Those are transient times. They will pass. Your job is to get your emotions under control enough to realize you can step back and say, okay, this is a low spot, but I'm going to develop a plan and work towards something. Or this is a high spot, which is great, but I'm going to develop a plan so when things go south, it won't be as bad. So that's what I mean by looking forward. Everything is a season in life, and you are going to have ups and downs. But if you allow the downs to completely drag you under, it's very difficult to come out of it. And when you are a little bit down, it doesn't take a lot to get you out of that. And I'm going to offer some really simple, easy things you can do, and they're going to sound super simple, but it's amazing how much better they make you feel. And these are some things that I do. Number one, eat better, sleep better. Eat foods that don't make you feel bad, that don't make you tired. I mean, yes, I love pasta too, but it makes me horrifically tired. So if I want to start feeling better, I stop drinking alcohol, or don't drink as much. I don't drink that much anymore anyway, but I stop drinking alcohol. I lay off the pasta and bread. I go more to fresh fruits, lean meats, and all of a sudden I magically start feeling better. I start sleeping better. And that's another thing. When you are sitting up, worrying about everything in your life and stressing over it, you don't sleep. Put yourself to bed early, and get as much sleep as you possibly can. Don't watch those 3,000 movies. Don't sit up and watch YouTube vids or Netflix movies or whatever in bed. Go to bed. Get some sleep. Sleep helps so many things. It helps you feel better. It gives you more energy. It allows you to really process things emotionally and not be so down on yourself because you feel better. And then do things that you know make you feel better. There are certain things that make me feel better. One of them is getting my hair colored. I know that's crazy, but do a little something for you that makes you feel better. Maybe it's getting your nails done. Maybe it's going to the bookstore and just smelling books. For those of you book lovers out there, you totally get that. And that is free, by the way. Just go do that. Maybe it is going to see a movie. Maybe it's getting outside and going for a walk. Maybe it's calling a friend and having a laugh. Not calling a friend and bitching about your lives, but calling a friend and talking about things that you have done before that are funny, things that you remember, something that makes you feel good. And these are not huge things. These are not huge things. They're not difficult things. But just like one little thing in your day can make your day go south, one little positive thing in your day can really give you a boost too. So don't underestimate those. It's really easy for us to blow them off and say, oh, that's just ridiculous. It's not going to make me feel better. Yes, it is. It's mindset. Allow it to make you feel better. Go ahead and do something for you. Maybe you go to the grocery store and buy yourself some flowers. I know for people, well, even for like my dad, he likes to go and just browse around pawn shops. Not buying anything, just seeing what junk is there that he might not have. So whatever it is that you enjoy doing, go do some of it. Get yourself out of that position to obsess over what you can't do and what you don't have. And then make a plan. Think about what you control and make a plan. Because let me tell you, sitting and stressing isn't a plan. It's not going to get better tomorrow, next week, or next month. You have got to take some positive steps to improve your situation. Even if that positive step is to call somebody for help. Do what you have to do and do it quickly. A lot of people wait until they are in a desperate situation, financially, emotionally, or whatever, to get help. Ask for help faster. Ask people, hey, do you have a job for me? I'm really looking. I need something quickly. Hey, do you know where I can get help with my debt? Hey, do you know where I can get help to get food? You just never know. There are a lot of people who understand things you might need. Let them help you. You will feel better. But I really want to stress that every single person that you meet, that you see, is going through something like this. Every single person. Every single person has been a little bit shell-shocked to realize their life will never go back to like it was before. It's not going to go back as far as socially with your social connections. It's not going to go back for some families because they've lost people. It's not going to go back economically for a lot of people. There's no going back. There's no going back. It's going to be different from this point forward. And the only way you are going to move forward is to embrace what you can control and create a new life and a new situation for yourself as you go forward. So I hope in some way this has been helpful to you. It's been a little bit helpful to me. It's given me a little pep talk too. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.